in a minute, but he just purchased his very first house hack property in April, and so I thought it'd be fitting after kind of a run your numbers exercise to kind of talk to you about your first deal and kind of how you landed on the location and how you thought about numbers. So maybe you can introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your first deal.
Are we starting?
Yeah, we're starting. Yeah, no.
So hello everyone, I'm Gabe Perez. I work with the Candor team. I'm the finance manager. I bought recently, like Todd said, a property in Lowell. I'm from Puerto Rico. I got a job in Boston. Now I switched to here. But at first I was like saving up. I want a house like in Boston, like that was my dream or whatever. Like I want to live in the city and be able to do that. But then like obviously starting to get to know a little bit more about the market and all that like I would have to save like way more than I would like to house hack in Boston. So I was like, okay, this is not a priority, or this is not a possibility for like the time frame that I was. That I wanted for myself to buy my first property. So then this opportunity came, I switched jobs. I was living in Boston, commuting to Lowell. I don't have a car, so I was taking the T and then the commuter rail from North Station. My commute was like each way like an hour and 20 minutes. But I did it, that was the reality. It is what it is, and it paid off. So because I was commuting so much, I was like, okay, I need to, like, I don't want to commute as much. I don't have a car. I was willing to buy one, but now with gas prices and used car prices, I was like, if I can avoid that, then perfect. So I was like, okay, Lowell seems to be a good area. Being with the team, I heard that obviously Boston is more like a appreciation, long-term play out game. I was hearing by being in the room that Lowell and that area was more of like a cash flow, and that's what I want, because my plan, which is one of the things that I like established first, was like, okay, my plan is to acquire X amount of properties in 5, 6, 7, 10 years and be financially free, and make work optional or invest my time into something that I'm passionate about without worrying to pay to like who's gonna pay the bills or how I'm gonna do it. So cash flow is what I want. Lowell is a cash flowing market. The prices are way more reasonable than Boston, obviously. And since I was coming to work and all that, I was like, this is like an area that I could see myself living in. So perfect. So I started searching and all of that, looking at like Zillow or Redfin or whatever every day, and it's like I started to get a sense of the market. Like, let's say today I come in and there's like 5 properties, and then tomorrow there's 7, and then the next day there's like 3. So and I would see the prices. Oh, this one came out, but then like a couple of days later it came back again because it didn't sell. So I started to like that consistency of checking every day like helped me a lot to get a sense of like the market and all that, even though I'm new to here, because I was living in Boston and I didn't know anything about Lowell before coming to a meetup. So yeah, I went like before I went through the process. I was talking with Jacob of like listening to Bigger Pockets podcast, learning, reading books, whatever, and I got to the point that I was like, okay, I feel like I filled myself with like enough knowledge for my strategy that was house hacking. That's what I wanted to do. Now I want to start meeting people and networking with people that are actually doing what I want to do. That's when I started to go to the meetups and all that. I started meeting people, and it's like, okay, this is something possible, because in Bigger Pockets you hear an episode and it's like, oh, I bought 20 properties in 1 year. I'm like, how, like, I don't even know anything. How am I gonna get there? So meeting people that are actually playing. I was like on the sidelines in the bleachers, and I was like, okay, I want to be in the court playing and learning more hands-on about it. So that's when I started reaching out, meeting new people and all of that, and that made, in my mind, it was like, okay, like I know people that are doing what I want to do, so this is achievable, or like it's doable. So yeah. eventually I got to the point. I remember talking to Joe Galvin, which is one of the sponsors of Movement Mortgage, and I remember having a phone call. I was still in Boston. I was like, I have some money saved up. I want a house hack. I'm looking at this range or whatever. Like, what should I do? And I was just like keeping and talking, and he like stopped me like cold, and he said, like what you should do is you should just get pre-approved, and that way you'll be able to see what you're actually pre-approved for, and that way you can see like the price range that you can shoot for. So literally like the next day or whatever, started the process, filled up all the documents, whatever, provided bank statements, all of that information, and boom, I got my first pre-approval. I was like, oh, okay, then I got pre-approved. I don't know, it was like 5 something or.
What was that? What did you have to? So this comes up a lot, right? So
Yeah.
people reach out and they say, hey, I'm going to get pre-approved for a multifamily property, right?
Yeah.
So you had already nailed down your location. What was that process like, right?
It's at least with Movement Mortgage, and I assume it's pretty similar with everyone. Like, you just gotta provide like pay stubs, bank statements, all the assets that you have, like your bank account. If you invest in the stock market, you have like a brokerage account or whatever. Put everything, like every single dollar that you have, either cash or whatever, just like put it in there, because the more cash you have, then the more you will get approved for. So everything, keep track of all your finances. That was something that was crucial for me. Like, I feel that personally I'm frugal and I keep my finances straight. Like I check almost every day, like track what I've spent and all that. I keep track of all of my expenses. Like every month, like I go to the supermarket, boom, I track it.
And that's why we hired you for our budget.
Did you find that when the pre-approval, because we hear this a lot, right? And I want to make sure that in case anybody has questions on this, did you find that the number that came back, doesn't matter what the number was, but like when the number came back, was that helpful to you in narrowing down on your search? Like once you knew,
Definitely.
like, okay, I'm approved for X amount of dollars in this market, did that help you narrow your search?
Let me see. It's what's
And while you're looking that up, the reason I ask is the 2 most common things I hear from folks that reach out. So we get a lot of folks that reach out from Bigger Pockets or just from networking meetups, and it's like, I work in Boston, but I want to buy in Worcester, and it's like, can you picture yourself driving from Worcester to Boston every day, right? First of all, so lifestyle, and you touched upon that. Like, can I picture myself living in that area? And the answer for you sounded like yes.
Yeah.
And then number 2, how much can you afford, or what do you want to buy? And many people don't know the answer to that, especially when it comes to multifamily, because pre-approvals take into account portions of the rental units. And so when you got your number, you said, okay, now I know I'm looking in Lowell, and I'm looking in Lowell at a specific price point.
exactly.
That was helpful to you?
Yeah, no, 100%. That definitely like put because I took out my calculator, because before getting pre-approved, I was like, okay, my plan was to use FHA, so what's a 3.5% of whatever number? So let's say I use 700,000, so the 3.5% of that is 24,500. I was like, okay, I have at the time I have that saved up or whatever. Like I can that means I can afford a $700,000 property. When the pre-approval came in, I mean, not to discourage anyone, but that I got pre-approved for like 500 something. It's like, oh, okay, so
Right.
then I need to like lower my, my reach of like what I'm trying to get, and that's when the pre-approval.
It's so important.
It's literally like I didn't know how important, because I was afraid, because pre-approval, you get an inquiry on your credit or whatever, but honestly, like it definitely is like a super important step in getting started, and that will shape your search for everything. So yeah, I got pre-approved. Then I kept searching on every day. Okay, this. I started running numbers because of my job. ran numbers as part of my job, so that helped me get into the habit of it. But once I learned it, and I think John has like a video, and I saw that, and literally at work he said, I have this video, and like Todd said right now, I saw that video, and boom, I started running numbers, and I started getting those reps in. By the time, I don't know, a month passed by or something like that, it was like I could see a property, I could see the price, and I could say, like, I would still run the numbers, but I could say in my mind, like, no, this is not gonna be worth it, or you know what, like I should run it, and this could actually be like a good deal or something. So yeah, kept doing it, got way better at it, and then fortunately, like the property I bought came through like an off-market deal from a network, and I just happened to be prepared, and it happened. But one thing that I want to emphasize is that success or luck, however you want to call it, I feel like it's when preparation meets opportunity. If I hadn't been pre-approved and known what I could afford, then that off-market deal would have been handed to the next person, and that person would have gotten it. But because I was prepared with my pre-approval letter and all that, I was like, okay, this off-market deal is listed at X price. Like, oh, I can afford that. Let me see the property. Let me run the numbers. Boom, boom, boom. I did it quickly because I had all the reps in of analyzing deals, and I was like, okay, like I think this property might work exactly. And then I started going through a process to continue telling my story. Like I didn't end up using FHA. I got in contact with like a local credit union, John Dark or Jean Dark, I don't know. John Dark Union, yeah. in Lowell, which great service. Like literally the process was amazing with them. And one thing that I was talking with Jacob is that it was a 5% down loan. I asked the loan officer to prepare for this, to see what the product is, because the structure was different, because it was like, I'll tell you, I have it here. Oh
so it's not an FHA?
It's not an FHA. It was an owner-occupied loan, and it was 5% down. So the structure is like two different loans. The first loan, it was for 80% of the price, and then another loan for that loan is like a normal rate. I locked in at 4%. Yeah. The second loan, that is for 15%. That is a higher one, I think, because of like the risk that they're taking. It's my first property. They don't know. I don't have like any experience or whatever. If I would have 20 properties, whatever, it's like, okay, I trust this person. Like I'll give him good terms because of their track history. So yeah, the other loan was like 5.
Typically higher. Right?
Exactly, typically higher.
So this is a duplex?
This is a duplex,
okay.
yeah.
So let's pause there for a second,
sure.
Right? So for duplex properties, some credit unions will offer
True. Important.
low down payment loans,
exactly.
like 5%,
yep.
that are non-FHA, and it's first position, 80% of the loan, at a lower interest rate.
Yeah.
Second position loan for 15% of your case, yep. at a higher interest rate, but for a smaller portion of the loan, so then you have a blended interest
exactly.
rate. That is, so if your low one was at 4 and your high one was at 5, you might be at 4.25%, exactly. blended.
Yep.
So good option for duplex buyers. Once you get into 3 and 4 units, they kind of those go away.
Exactly. And it turned out better, like running the numbers. Once I got the pre-approval for that product, I got back to the bigger pockets calculator, started running the numbers again with those numbers, and it turned out better because it's not FHA, I was not paying the PMI. And also, like, I was giving more because it wasn't 3.5, it was 5%. I was giving more upfront, but I was saving more on a monthly basis. And just the numbers worked out better. And, like, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, whatever works for you. I would have, like, you know, I feel like because it was my first time, it was like I would have liked to go with Joe or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like it's whatever works for you. You need to like root for yourself and make it work.
Right. Perfect. So thank you for the intro. That's awesome. So living in Lowell, duplex property, low down payment, owner occupied loan. Do you guys have any questions? So we just talked about running numbers.
Please.
So let's
That's what I'm here for. I think
a lot of people are in your shoes where they're like,
exactly.
either I just bought my first property or I'm ready to buy my first property. When you said like I'm theoretically ready, but like it's go time.
Exactly.
I talked to a lot of people that are in that boat. So what questions do we have for Gabe? Yeah.
So Gabe, when you said you bought off market, so when you buy on market, you have like a realtor holding your hand through the process, but this is off market.
Yeah.
So what was that process like?
It was basically it was. I mean, I feel like I got blessed by that opportunity, and obviously not everyone has it. But at the same time, like I feel like I put myself in. I don't want to go on a tangent here, but I feel like I put myself in this position because I wanted to get a job like in real estate. I wanted to get to know people. I got this job literally by networking and coming into these meetups. So like I was constantly searching. I wasn't in my bed just listening to Bigger Pockets and like trying to learn as much as I can. I was like, okay, like I need to get into the field. I need to know people that can either lead me to someone that knows something that I need to know, or an agent that can help me find a deal or something. And just networking, I feel like one of the things going to Bigger Pockets, it's like I've heard in many podcasts, it's like the crystal clear criteria that you need to know this. Like, I want a 2-bedroom. I want a duplex with X amount of bedrooms or whatever, and then if you communicate that to everyone you know in your network, then maybe your agent or something finds an off-market deal and is literally what you are looking for, and because you are communicating that constantly, then maybe the first person that comes into their mind is you because you're communicating.
Where did the off-market deal come from?
Our network.
So Candor?
Yeah, through Kendra.
Good agent.
Yeah.
So-
Exactly. Literally.
The reason I bring that
true.
up is and I'm serious. The reason I bring this up is off-market deals can come from a lot of places. We bring off-market deals. I was having this conversation with Lauren, I think. We bring off-market deals to our people all the time, right? So both buyers and sellers. So when you think about like an off-market deal, that doesn't always mean agentless. You can still have, and I pride myself on doing this, I've helped people do it before. I have clients that are like, hey, I found an off-market deal, I don't know how to go through this. And they call me and they ask me questions and I coach them through it. I'm not involved in it in a formal way, but like we're here because we love doing this. And we have a network, and like it sounds like you had a good network around you that was like, yeah, you maybe didn't have a formal agent engagement, but you had people around you, both agents and non-agents,
Exactly.
right? There's plenty of people in here that aren't agents, that you can call and be like, I don't know what the next step is. Let's talk through the pros and cons.
Literally. I still feel like I don't know anything. And one of the things I love about real estate is it's like a team effort work. Like you can't make it alone. You need to have like a loan officer that you know. You need to know an agent that knows the market that you want to go into. You need to know all these people that are here in the meetup. Like I might know something that Ryan doesn't know. Ian might know something that I don't know, and just by talking and networking, that's how you start compiling. Instead of listening to 10 podcasts a week,
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. But if you're at the point that you listen to all the stories and all of that, and because Bigger Pockets you have from all of the United States and all that, but you want to invest here, let's say in Waltham or whatever, then ideally you would want to meet people that are in the game here in Waltham.
And you want somebody that's going to actually walk you through it in real time.
Exactly.
Rather than like,
The-
oh yeah, I did that.
We
Okay.
still run into problems all the time. Like John and I just talked today. John,
I'm not trying to shit on bigger pockets. I'm sorry. Because my experience, like I
We have
feel
him
like
on
I
video,
got.
right?
I,
He's on video. Yeah.
Shit, not bigger pockets.
no. But
Back to beer.
I'm saying like in my experience, I felt that I reached a cap of knowledge that I can consume in those podcasts. I need to tailor. I need to get more narrow into what I specifically want, and that it's a podcast. It's huge and it's great. I learned so much from that, but it was a point that I needed to get more deeper into what I wanted. So.
All right, so you went from the theoretical, from the listening to 10 podcasts a week, to putting in offers on an off-market deal. How'd you feel about that? Think back to when you put that offer in. How'd you feel?
So yeah, it was crazy. Like I still can't believe that I can call myself like a homeowner / real estate investor. It's insane. It happens so quick. When I put that offer, it was like, is it gonna get accepted?
Were you excited or were you?
Oh no, I was super excited. Like
Okay.
even though like since I wanted to take action, I was just excited that I was taking action regardless of the outcome. Like I wanted just to be in the game, and putting that offer meant that I was actually playing. I took my shot, and either I missed or got it. Then it doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm playing. So I got it. So perfect. I got fortunate. If I lost it, then I would have just taken another shot and keep going. The same with the rental analysis and all that. Like just one doesn't make sense. Go to another, analyze another property, analyze another until at some point one is going to make sense, and you're gonna shoot your shot, and you might not get it, or you might. But you need to take the shot. If you don't take it and you're not prepared and you don't have your pre-approval and all that, then you won't be able to make the shot. Someone else is going to take it, and you miss the opportunity.
So you're shooting 100%.
He's
You
now he's just showing up.
What's it say? No.
Just showing up.
But you miss, what is it? You miss the 100% of the
shots you don't take.
You don't take. Exactly. So you need to.
Yeah. Michael Scott, Wayne Gretzky.
Exactly. You need to be in the game. You need to take your shots, and don't worry if you miss. Like that's just part of the process.
And so again, not to, we'll work on wrapping this up. I didn't mean to go so late, and I know the Celtics are on, but what we find is that people get theoretically ready, right? People are like, they watch the podcast, they're like, man, I know what I need to know. I'm ready to make an offer. And most people think like, if I make an offer, like I'm getting a property. And for most people are not you, you're betting 100%.
Yeah.
Like, many times that's just the next hurdle, right? Then you make the offer and you're usually scared shitless. I remember the first time I made an offer on a multifamily, I was scared shitless. I'm like, this is crazy. It got denied, and then it didn't get accepted. And I was like, I took a shot, didn't work out, literally lost nothing.
Exactly.
That was cool. Did it more and
then
more.
You feel more comfortable.
Then you feel more comfortable. And you're like, oh wait, this is not like making an offer is not buying a property. Making an offer is expressing interest in a property in which you need to get it accepted. And even when it's accepted, there's so many terms that still need to be ironed out. So once you get more comfortable making offers, then you've moved on to the next step. So it's just kind of a natural progression of getting theoretically ready to take the next step.
And important about running the numbers, it's like, let's say this property is, that property, 830. Maybe 830 doesn't make sense, but you're running the numbers and let's say you put 815, and that makes perfect sense.
Right.
Then shoot your shot for 815.
Right.
You might get it. I've heard stories from John that it's like, let's say for that example, they shot 815. They might not get it, and someone put 830, but then for whatever reason that process didn't go through with that person, then maybe you're the second place, and they want to sell the property. So the next one is 815. If they're willing to do it, then you got it.
Yeah. We do it all the time.
Exactly.
And we actually try to do it on every deal we analyze. We figure out, because we believe mostly every deal has a number,
100%.
right? may not be the number the seller wants, but every deal has a number. We try to figure out what that number is on every deal, and we take our shot at that number. And 90% of the time it doesn't work. 5% of the time it gets accepted, and 5% of the time you get a phone call 2 weeks later and they say, hey, we fell out of contract, are you still interested?
Exactly.
So,
And it's like I don't know, the law of numbers, or I don't know if that's a term, but the more you shoot, the more probability, like let's say right now, if you take 10 shots and you miss 5, then you're at 50%. If you take 1,000 shots but make, I don't know if that.
the same percentage overall.
Exactly. Overall,
Yes.
it works out. So you need to take as many shots as you need to take, and if you're in it, if you really want this and want to become a real estate investor and you're committed to it, you'll make the sacrifices for it, whether that is living frugally or going to a club and not drinking $100 worth of alcohol and just like having a couple drinks or whatever pre-game to save and get there already,
Or eat free pizza.
or eat free pizza. Exactly. I mean,
by Gabe is what we're getting.
no, but or bringing, like an example, I bring my lunch every day to work. Like for me, I am not willing to spend $10, $12, $15 a day and that's just one meal. If I'm lazy in the afternoon, I'll have to spend another $10, $15. So that's like $30 in one day. Multiply that by 5, by 4.
You said you track your personal expenses.
Yeah.
Do you have to use any tools for that, or is that just something
So I
that's
haven't-
ingrained in you?
No, I have an app that is like super manual. Now there's Mint and all that, which is good.
Nerdwall.
But
Tom.
exactly, but the app that I use, that I can share it with you like after, it's super manual because if you don't put it at the moment, then you might forget at the end of the day or whatever. But I love it because you have total control. You can create new categories of whatever you like. If you're taking, I don't know, piano or guitar lessons, and you can create a category guitar lessons and put whatever amount that's why I like it. The downside is that you have to record it manually. If not, then it's
You
not
mean
gonna get recorded.
you mean it takes work?
Exactly. So
Just-
no, but and it's a great tool because at the end of the month I would say like this month I didn't bring lunch, I don't know, for a full week, then I spent $200 eating outside, then that's something I can definitely lower the next month, and then I make the effort the next month to cook and make the time for that and adjust. It's just like everything is trial and error. For me, it's everything is trial and error. You try something and you adjust. You keep trying, and you failed, you adjust, and then you eventually keep adjusting until you get where you want to go.
All right, we'll do one more question for the new landlord, and then we'll wrap up and get ready for the game.
Yeah.
So we got one more question for Mr. Gabe,
I got one.
Ian, and Cindy. All right, let's Ian fire away. Or no, I'm sorry, Ian, Zach.
So I'm currently in the process where Ian and I roommates, we're ending our lease, and it's like move home, stay in Boston, go somewhere else, or house hack. And I don't have a definitive plan because I want to do all three.
Okay.
But I'm in the process of being pre-approved just as a preventative,
Sure.
if something comes along.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's been apparent to me is that location based, because your FHA will depend on where you're trying to look. But I don't have a location. I'd be fine living in Worcester, Framingham, Natick, Maynard, Waltham. So it's like, how critical is it really to know what neighborhood you want to live in?
For me, I feel I completely understand your thought process, because for me, I was willing to relocate anywhere because I didn't have a car. Then I ideally would be in Lowell, which I ended up. But I was willing to go to Worcester or I don't know, whatever towns are in that like northwest area of Boston. And I would obviously bought a car if I was in Worcester because the commute would have been insane. So honestly, for me, if I didn't get this deal and let's say I would have gone in another city, I would have gotten a car, and if that deal makes sense in Worcester or in Athol or whatever, I would have just moved there. Like for me, the location in terms of like, I really want to live here because of the area, or because of it's a nice place to live or whatever. Like that wasn't a priority to me.
But-
It is a cheaper that you have the money to.
Yeah,
so
but
I don't know.
I
if that
guess
makes sense.
the more pointy question is,
Okay.
going into your pre-approval, did you know you were going to Lowell? Or
It's
did
not,
you, were
it's
you
not
open
that, I don't mean to jump in.
No,
but
no, go
it's-
ahead, go ahead.
It doesn't really matter.
Okay, yeah.
Don't overthink.
Because I was just like wanting to get pre-approved so that when deals came across, I could then choose where I wanted to go.
Correct. And so I would say if you're gonna look in certain areas, I would go in the highest price point area that you're looking.
Okay.
Get your pre-approval, because once, the point of the pre-approval is to look at you as a borrower, your assets, your income, etc. Once the lender knows you and has your information, updating a pre-approval takes minutes.
Literally, that's right. Good.
Don't get caught up.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm looking at a duplex in Natick because that's the highest price point I'm looking at. Get your number. That informs your search. But like, if you end up in Framingham or Marlborough or Hudson, like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Literally, if you feel that you have enough capital saved up to that you think that you can already buy like a property that's within like a reasonable budget, just get your pre-approval, like 100%.
That's it.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, so what's your next, what are you planning next?
Well, I'm
Yeah,
already thinking
Do
about.
you have the itch already?
Yeah,
It's quick, doesn't
yeah,
it?
it really happens quick. Like I closed 2 months ago.
Brady knows all about that.
I closed 2 months ago. I feel like it's gonna be 2023 already. Like we're already. I feel like it was January,
Yeah.
like 2 weeks ago, and we're already halfway through the year. So it's like I want to get ready. I want to, now I'm tracking like the expenses and what I'm making and all of that. So start trying to get to build that foundation again financially. And now, oh, thank God I remember this. That one of the things that I was thinking, that I was like so eager to become an investor already, was that I wanted to benefit from the benefits that the benefits that real estate brings. And the only way you can reap those benefits is by having real estate. If you don't have them, then you won't get equity or appreciation or the cash flow or the tax benefits. So I wanted to get those benefits as soon as I can. And now with the market, now with the interest rates and all that, it's different. But if I would have waited because I didn't feel, you're never gonna feel prepared. Just get that pre-approval, get that process started, get those take your shots and all that. If I would have waited because of whatever reason, then I wouldn't be reaping the benefits right now. And the sooner you start, the more time you'll be reaping those. Like, think about it. People that bought in 2019, all the appreciation that like if you bought in 2019, or if you waited like a year or something, you would have missed in thousands of dollars in appreciation. Like, it's crazy. So I don't know. I just wanted to share that perspective in terms of the motivation.
So you're built. So you're hooked. You're building.
I'm building
Adding,
exactly
adding,
because
adding.
once you, and people always say this, that it gets easier as you keep acquiring properties. Like in my head, I said okay, I bought my first one, I dropped the snowball. Now that will keep rolling and turn into an avalanche already. And right now, I might buy the second one in let's say 2 years, but then the third one it might be in a year and a half or 1 year. And then the fourth one, it might be in a year. And then I get to a point that it's I'm buying a property every...
Then you're John Babaji.
Right.
Exactly. So
Great
literally
thought.
you are at the hardest point as you continue to acquire.
The first one's the
The
hardest.
first one is definitely the hardest because you don't have any extra money coming in or living off free or saving up on rent and just paying $300 or $400 for rent or mortgage. So as soon as you buy the first one, it start getting your savings rate increases, and then you keep up from there. And then a year from now, you appraise a property and you have, I don't know, like 10, 20 grand in equity, maybe you can use that, and that's money that you didn't have if you wouldn't have that property before. So.
All right, bud. Well, thank you. Thanks for sharing your